Okay, here we are on Metal Talk, and I'm talking to the legendary guitarist, Mr. Uli Jon Roth. Hi Uli, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
And you're doing this tour, and for the last couple of years, you sort of been going back to your Scorpions past, and
Last year.
and
this year.
in the past you sort of shied away from it, but now you feel pretty comfortable playing those songs again. So why is that?
Yeah, it took me a while to re-establish a connection. I had lost that connection for many years because I was looking more towards, I was just more interested in what I was doing there and then, and for me the past was the past. But we had the idea to do a live album, and since I have such a large amount of tracks to play live, I didn't quite know. I thought it would be a good idea to do 3 different live albums, one for each era or period of what I've been doing. And of course the first one, and very important for me, was the Scorpions. So yeah, that's why we started playing these songs, and actually also it coincided with the fact that this year is actually the 40th anniversary of when it all started back with the Scorpions with me.
And you seem to be having a lot of fun playing these songs, and you sort of improvise. There's a lot of improvisation in these songs as well,
That's very important, and it always used to be that way, They were always fresh and never totally the same. I mean, some songs have much less improvisation than others, but there's always a fair deal, and sometimes they're quite different,
And I've seen you here in England, I've seen you in Germany, and you use like various musicians.
Where?
Yeah, I saw it at Wacken this year, and I'll get onto that in a minute. And how do you pick your musicians for the band?
Well, there's certain requirements. First of all, they have to be really, really good and very flexible at improvising, and doing things off the cuff. So that's one thing, and then the other thing is, people need to have the right mentality, really. And I mean, it's no fun being on the road with people that are constantly, wrapped up in major difficulties of their own making, and then it brings everybody else down. So usually it's a.
You do have a fellow young guitarist in the band, and tell us about him and where'd you find him from, and tell us his name as well.
Yeah, that's Ali Clinton, and he's from Birmingham. Yes, he's only 17, and there he is. Yeah, getting ready for the show, and he's doing a great job, and very talented, and hopefully got a really good career in front of him.
And we just mentioned Wacken, and obviously you played that this year, and I don't know if it's a record for Wacken, but you actually appeared on 3 different stages. You played your own set, you appeared with Deep Purple on the main stage, Smoke on the Water Encore, and the next stage with Doro Pesch, played actually with Sublime guitar solo on For Immer.
With Doro, yes.
So where's your history of Doro go back?
Doro, we're actually born in the same city, believe it or not, which is Düsseldorf. But that has nothing to do with it. Then we had the same record company for a long period. That's when I met her for the first time. About 9 years ago, we did an orchestra show in Germany, and we invited her to sing a couple of songs, which she did. And one of them was this track. I think it's her hit track, or definitely, her best known. It's a ballad, and it's a really lovely song, Für immer, forever, and with German lyrics actually. And we hit it off, and then whenever we're like at the same festival or whatever, she says, "Why don't you come on stage? We play that song." So it happened quite a few times already.
And did you have much rehearsal for that? Or?
No. I learned it on stage.
Fantastic! It didn't show at all.
But no, I mean, that's for Wacken. I know the song because we'd done it before, But the first time we did it, I learned it on stage. It's possible with a song like that when it's melodic, it's kind of I feed off that when when I don't quite know what's coming. You know, sometimes it brings out the best, sometimes the worst. But
And how about Deep Purple? Obviously a band of long history, must go back a long way.
Well, not a long history. The main history being that Don Airy, their keyboard player, used to play keyboards with me for many years in the 90s. And we were a great team. I loved having him in the band. He's such a great musician. But then Deep Purple actually snatched him up, you know, right before another important orchestra gig. So I was in trouble. It was like a week before the show. I found two young keyboard players who could sight read, you know, and together they didn't manage to do what Don did, you know. But that's how that Deep Purple connection started. And then I went to one of their gigs, and Steve Moore said, "Why don't you come on stage?" You know, and you know, we started jamming, and so each time when I was there, for some reason, I ended up on stage, you know.
Great, and
they're a great band to jam with. I mean, they are still...
Well, another band I'd like to
They are still cutting edge, exactly, and they're not afraid of jamming on stage, and I love that, particularly when musicians can do it. And there's quite a few bands who are not good at it, and then they also don't do it, you know. But Deep Purple are... that's one of their strongest points.
And sort of talking of a Deep Purple connection, there was another concert you played at. You seemed to have a lot of fun. It was like late 2012 was the Sunflower Jam, which was a charity concert.
Yeah, that was last year down there. And that was great.
It was great. You got to play with many people. We'll talk about it in a second. But before you came on, you actually gave a warning. This might be very loud. You did an instrumental version of Sails of Charon, and you wasn't wrong. It was the most deafening, loudest thing I've ever heard at the Albert Hall.
Well, the thing was, the band before us was Sandy Tom, and she did this lovely piece, like all quiet, you know, and everybody up to that had been playing very quietly, and so I was kind of like, my track was kind of the first rock track, you know, and that's why I said that, you know. And yeah, you must have been in the firing line of that amplifier, you know. And it wasn't even turned up, you know. But the Albert Hall is so resonant. I mean, you can only imagine what it was like back then with Hendrix and Cream when they played. They were much louder than I am, you know. But nowadays, people don't. You know, everybody plays hush hush, and so.
Fun, you just mentioned
Fair
Cream.
enough,
And,
but I do like rock music being, you know, strong and powerful. You know, to me that's a very vital ingredient, actually. You know, I mean, not play it too safe. There needs to be a certain danger element, you know.
You just mentioned Cream at the Albert Hall, and funny enough, you did play Sunshine of Your Life, of Your Love that night with Mark King.
That was the idea of Mark King. Yeah, and exactly, yeah. Tremendous bass player.
Yeah, he is very underrated actually. People in the rock
He's
field
not
don't really.
underrated at all. No, he's got a great.
Well, I say like the heavy rockers don't realise what a great bass player is.
Well, heavy rockers, what do they know? You know, I mean, that guy is like a total virtuoso. He's one of the best bass players.
Exactly.
The guy's phenomenal, slapping wise, and also what I didn't realize when we played "Sunshine of Your Love," how good he is also doing all the other stuff. I mean, you know, it's just a pleasure playing with him.
And you got your Sky guitar next to you, and did you actually design the shape of the guitar yourself?
Yes. That was many years ago, you know, and I had this amazing guitar builder in Brighton who did the first prototypes, and yeah, so it's a Sky guitar.
And did you design the shape because it looked good, or does it because it's comfortable for you to play around?
No, it was. You see, this guitar. There's a reason why this guitar came into being. The reason was that the normal standard Stratocaster, the Strat, it stops here, you know, at this note. And I found that in my guitar solos, you know, very often I wanted to go a little higher, and I couldn't. You know, so this guitar builder said to me, you know, look, I can build you any guitar you want. And somehow that sparked something off in me, and then I started to think, and I wanted basically a guitar that can play like really high, like a violin. And in order to do that, you had to change the shape. Otherwise, you couldn't, you know, you couldn't get down here. So I had to get rid of this part, but I also wanted it visually gratifying, so I took the shape of a sound wave, which is like the S shape, and it's like basically a very universal kind of shape, and then turned it into a spiral galaxy, and then the first one had like a spiral galaxy pattern here, yeah, and we built some prototypes, and now they're on the market with Dean.
That's right.
As a limited edition.
And how many of those do you have yourself?
I'm not sure actually. I tend to play the same ones. I've got a few in storage. I don't have that many, but.
Do you have a certain one like you always sort of sleep with and protective over?
Slept with this one last night. It was right next to me on the bed. But no, I have favorites, but I love playing them all. But they're all very different. They're all one will sound a little different, the other plays different. It's I don't know. And this one is probably my favorite all-rounder.
It looks beautiful. Yeah. And let's quickly talk about the Scorpions. I think you did 4 classic studio albums with them and a live album, Tokyo Tapes. And when you left the Scorpions, obviously they went in a more sort of you could say commercial direction, melodic direction. And could you listen to Love Drive when that first came out?
When I first listened, you see, back then I was really interested in guitar playing most of the time in the beginning, and that album to me didn't have enough guitar leads, so I kind of I listened once and I thought well, it's not really for me, but later on they wrote some tremendous new songs, and they just did they just made their way with their songwriting, and they had so many amazing hit songs, So.
And obviously, your friendship with the Scorpions has been totally rekindled. You appear with them quite often. So do you still keep up with their latest albums?
I've heard the last one. It was very good. I mean, the ones they did in the last few years. Yes, I know them. Yeah.
And you're a massive Hendrix fan, and obviously here tonight we'll be hearing a few songs. And to a young guitarist, what Jimi Hendrix album would you recommend to start with?
It's difficult because they are so different, and there are two types of young guitar players. Some of them get it right away, but the ones who are more following a main trend, they've got a certain sound in their ears, maybe they won't get it because it's very free flow, very eclectic, and it's a completely different sound from anything that you would hear nowadays, from anything that you heard back then, So some people think it's an acquired taste, but that's why I can't really recommend any album. They have to check it out for themselves, and it's not that difficult because there were only a handful of real
at the time when he was alive,
studio albums, and those are the ones you should listen to.
And did you ever see Jimi Hendrix live?
Yes, twice.
Where was that?
In Germany, in Hamburg, and I was also at his last ever show on the Isle of Fehmarn.
Oh, fantastic. Amazing. And it's surprising actually because you're from Germany, and Germany's got beautiful Bavarian countryside, but you came to live in Wales. So why did you choose to live in Wales?
The internet.
Really?
Found a house on the internet.
Yeah.
That simple.
And are you like the only hippie in your village?
First of all, I'm not a hippie. I just look like a hippie. And I guess yes.
And what have you got planned for next year?
Lots more shows. Finishing off this live album, and then also I've written a new album which is long overdue. It needs to be recorded, so hopefully I'll do that. There's also a TV show that I'll be doing, basically a 10-part series about the mind of the artist, interacting with other artists. So. Was
it a mainstream TV? Or?
Well, I guess so. I mean, it's not a BBC thing. It comes from Europe, France and Germany, but it'll be in English, and I'm sure it'll be
Okay,
a
it'd be interesting.
worldwide thing.
And I believe you're working with Jack Bruce, is that right?
I did that quite a bit in the past, but only recently, a couple of weeks ago, yes, we did a couple of tracks for his new album, which he records at Abbey Road.
Oh,
And that was
wonderful.
a lot of fun, yeah. And we just did it as a three-piece with Cindy Blackman Santana, you know, great drummer, female drummer, who's I think made her name with Lenny Kravitz.
And obviously Abbey Road is like synonymous with the Beatles. So does that mean something special to you when you go to Abbey
Yeah,
Road?
absolutely. Abbey Road is, I mean, it's still the #1 studio in the world for that reason. And other than that, it's just a great studio. Full stop. They have 3 great studios. You know, they have big #1, which has probably seen more film scores recorded with the BBC Symphony Orchestra than any other. You know, #2 where they were with the Beatles, and also #3 they did Revolver there, and several Pink Floyd albums, and that's the one that we were in.
Fantastic. And just to wrap this up, have you got any unfulfilled ambitions for the future?
Unfulfilled ambitions, probably many, but you know, we'll see. I take it.
Right, is there any artists out there you
I
still
take
wish to
it
play
step
with
by
one day?
step. I'm not really thinking about these things so much, you know. You know, the most important thing is to record a few more of the things that I've actually written. You know, a lot of it is still in the drawer, and that's kind of not right.
Great. Yeah, it's been fantastic talking to you, and anybody watching this interview, go and see this man. He's actually absolutely phenomenal live. It's fantastic. So I'm looking forward to the show once more. Uli, all the best for the future.
About to start.
Thank you very much. Take care.